A couple of months back, I got very curious about the Super 8 film format. After watching a couple of YouTube videos, I found some emotionality in the pictures and the picture quality of Super 8 that I started to do some research about it and decided to get more serious and get myself a Super 8 camera. So after a lot of research, I decided to go for the Braun Nizo series and started to hunt for them. So 3 weeks ago, I found this Braun Nizo 561 macro. It's a camera from the early 70s designed by Dieter Rams from Braun, and it was very tough to find this camera in Switzerland. The market here is really tiny, but little did I know what I was getting into. What's up everyone, my name is Marcus from DM Photography, and in today's video I'm going to tell you the start of my journey into Super 8. Let me start by telling you why I chose this camera for Super 8. So first and foremost, I really like the looks of the Braun cameras. The Nizo series, there's the 5.6 series and the 800 series. There was a Braun Nizo 56 that I first found before I saw this 561 macro on the internet. And I really like this classic Braun design. And also what struck me is that it has a 54 frames per second mode. In addition to the usual 18 frames a second or 24 frames a second that you can shoot with Super 8. So it takes the normal Super 8 cartridges and it has everything that I need: manual exposure, auto exposure, so it has a light meter, it has zoom, electronic zoom, so I can zoom up here. And I really like the feel and the metallic look of this camera. So I was really fortunate and lucky to find one. And when I bought it off the Facebook Marketplace. I was really unsure what I was getting into because on Facebook I couldn't really figure out if the lens is okay, if there's any mold. So I tried to chat with the person who sold it to me back and forth. And I was also worried about the battery compartment, if there's any oxidation or something. But in the end I decided to just go for it, try it and see where I can get. After a few days waiting, I received the camera by mail just to find out what complications I got myself into. So first of all, I didn't have enough batteries to try out the motor. It takes normal AA batteries, but then I figured out that the batteries that I need for the light meter were some very old types of batteries based on mercury, and you couldn't buy these batteries anymore. So I found in the US a manufacturer that builds these kind of batteries, but built on zinc. So I had to get these batteries first to try out if the light meter works at all. The motor I could try after a couple of days because I could get the normal batteries over here in Switzerland. But then the big question was, would it record? Does everything work? So I figured out that the focusing works, the zoom works, but there were no films available here in Switzerland. So I had to hunt for films, and that I did on Amazon and in Germany, and I finally found some. So I bought two types of films. I bought the Kodak Vision 3 Super 8. One is the 200T and one is the 500T. So these are the two films that I decided to go for. I didn't buy the 50D that was also available because winter starts now here in Switzerland and it starts to get too dark. I thought like a 50D might be too dark. I don't know if it was a mistake, but so far I thought let me go with this one. What I also found in the package of the camera was this Kodachrome 40, and it expired in March of 1994. So I didn't want to start filming with this cartridge because I didn't know, or I still don't know actually, if the camera works. So I thought, first let me figure out, does everything work? Get a film developed and scanned, and if it works, I will use this cartridge just to find out how the look is if the film expired after 25 years. And I'm sure this was not properly stored anywhere, so I'm expecting something very funky. So I wanted to do this video actually already last weekend, but all my parts, like the batteries and the film, just arrived a couple of days before I usually release a video, and it takes me a couple of days to do a video, to cut it, to record it and everything. So I couldn't do the video last week, and that's why you see the video now. What I did though is I tried out the camera with a film in there last weekend for the very first time. I only had a couple of seconds on Saturday because the weather on Sunday was really horrible. So all I can tell you so far is that from a mechanical perspective, it looks like the camera works. So I'm really curious when I complete this first roll of film, send it in for development and scan, how it looks. So yeah, very excited here. Also, this will be just a very short video telling you that I bought this camera, that I'm trying to get into Super 8 as well, and I'm really looking forward sharing with you the results, if there is any results. Otherwise, I'll keep you in the loop with what happened with the first cartridge that I recorded. And yeah, then later I will try the Kodak Chrome. Also, what I want to show you in this video is when I was ordering all the stuff in Germany and at Amazon, I also picked up a very interesting book there. It's called Contact High. Contact High is a visual history of hip hop. Now, I really like hip hop, but I didn't buy it primarily because of hip hop, but because this is a book of contact sheets, lots and lots of contact sheets of very famous hip hop covers from the late 70s until the 2000s, and I really wanted to find out how they were shooting film at that time. And looking at the contact sheets, because I know many of the hip hop albums, and I wanted to see how many shots did they take, what type of shots did they take on film back in the days, until they chose the final one that we all know from the album cover. So I was browsing through this book the last couple of days, and I got really inspired, and it really helps me with my film photography, where of course I don't have any screen to look at, so this is a very good reference. What I also want to mention in this video is a viewer of mine from Australia, Dominic. He sent me a photo that he made, and he's also selling them. And one of his first zines that he shot on a Leica M3. And these are really beautiful shots, and they also reminded me that I still need to work on my own zine that I started earlier this year. And you've seen maybe the other video that I shared with you about the beginning of my zine and my first selection of shots. Dominique found my YouTube channel a couple of weeks back, and he contacted me, and we were chatting back and forth on Instagram. He was asking me if he can send me one of his photo books. So his newest photo book is Beyond the Square. It's a photo book that is full of images shot in the square format. So he shot them with the Hasselblad 500 cm and the Fuji GF 670, and all the images in here are from Switzerland, Sri Lanka, London, Japan, Iceland and the Arctic, as well as Australia, where Dominique is from. And it's really a beautiful photo book with a lot of these inspiring black and white square photos. I really love it, Dominic. So thank you very much for sending me your photo book and also the photo and your zine. I leave his contact information down here to Instagram and email in case you want to get in touch with him. And if you want to buy one of his books. As you remember from my video, I was really struggling to compose with the square format. I don't want to give up, so I will take more tries in the future. So I'm really curious, but this definitely inspires me, Dominique, to try it again, and also reminded me again to complete my first photo book or zine, depending on what I decide in the end. This is it for today's video. I'm really looking forward trying out the Super 8 camera now, finishing my first film, getting it developed and digitized, and then looking at the footage for the very first time. One last thing that I wanted to mention before I leave you is when I bought the new film and I looked at the old cartridges, of course the design has changed over the last 25 years, but there is a very important difference on the back of the cassettes. and that is on the Kodachrome here from 25 years ago. It says that the development costs are included with the purchase of this film, and neither the 200T nor the 500T have this little remark over here. So this has definitely changed over time. So that means now we have to buy these expensive cartridges, have to pay the development and the digitization on top of that. So I think that's a pity. It would be really cool if you could still develop the film, or having the development cost in the purchasing price. So anyways, I'm really looking forward into that. It will probably be very costly over time, but let's see where this goes. So if you have any tips for me with regards to Super 8 filming, if you have good tips for me, especially in Europe or more specifically in Switzerland, on where to get film, where to get it developed, what to pay attention to, or if you think it's worth to buy a digitizing device myself, if it's really worth trying to get into that, please let me know all of this in the comments. I'm really curious to hear from you and also to learn. For me, as I said, this is the beginning of the journey, and yeah, so I'm really curious. Anyway, before I leave you, I will show you now a couple of more shots that I took with my Leica M6, and I'll see you next time.